Water changed my life. I drink water every day, and the effects it has on my life is game changing. Without water, I would die. Seriously. Actually, one time back in 2025, I was just so incredibly tired every single day for no reason, and sometimes I would get the worst headaches ever, and I was napping every day for 1 to 2 hours. I had no idea what was going on. I relied more and more on bootleg cola to keep me awake, and I was talking to a friend, and then the reason hit me like a truck. The reason I was so tired was because I completely neglected to drink enough water, and frankly, I was just drinking bootleg cola every day. I don't know how I'm still alive. After I started to drink water again, I started to feel better and not extremely tired. The way I drink water every day is actually through water bottles, which sounds obvious, but I was just thinking, aren't water bottles just the biggest scam ever? I am paying money for water that I can get from a tap, just in a bottle formed, and speaking of which, these bottles are horrible for the environment. But my brain is so trained on drinking water from a bottle that I cannot drink tap water without thinking it's worse. And honestly, I don't think there is much of a difference between tap water and bottled water, but our brains are just trained to think bottled water is superior to tap. I just looked it up, and according to this post I read for 5 seconds on Reddit, tap water is on average cleaner and better for you. And I think we as a society should switch from bottled water to tap water and just stop buying bottled water entirely. Honestly, I have really bad drinking habits with bottled water anyways. Sometimes I leave 3 half-drunken water bottles on my nightstand while having 2 empty bottles on my desk at all times. And you would expect me to drink the rest of the water on my nightstand, but no, instead of that I just grab a whole new water bottle. Something else I use water for is showering. Whenever I shower, I use hot water instead of warm or cold water, and when I was doom scrolling a few years back, I was watching a video that claimed that people who tend to be more lonely tend to shower in hot water for longer. I linked an article below about a study that proves young people in their young adult life usually shower in warmer waters when they feel socially left out or disconnected. They theorize that people do this because socializing gives the body a warm feeling. The warmth of being near others is comforting, while loneliness is considered suffocating and cold. I guess showering in warm water is an escape from that cold just a little bit. It is a bit of a coping mechanism for loneliness, one you probably didn't even notice. Now, of course, this doesn't mean if you take hot showers you are automatically lonely. There is just a scientific correlation for loneliness and hot showers for young adults. I personally saw this and simply said, yeah, that's me. And now whenever I take a hot shower, I remember, sometimes subconsciously and sometimes I just mention it to myself, that I prefer hot water because I lack real life friends. And I don't lack online friends, but that warmth it gives me sadly doesn't apply to real life. I actually want to do a little poll in the comments. Do you take hot showers? And if you do you consider yourself lonely? I'm excited to see the results because I haven't talked to anyone who takes hot showers, because why would that come up in regular conversations? But I just look forward to seeing if you guys take hot shower. What am I even talking about? I get this is an April Fool's video, but I would like to take this topic of water seriously. Instead of ending on a positive note for this video, I want to end on a serious note. Water is something that you and I likely have easy access to. And for me, personally, I do not have a hard time getting access to water, not only for consumption, but for everyday tasks such as laundering, cleaning, showering, and whatever else I may need water for. On top of having easy access to water for everyday needs, I have access to cold and warm water, and I'm going to assume that you have similar accessibility to water as me. However, I feel like we get so used to having easily accessible water that we forget over 1 billion people do not have easy access to water like we do. I read this article, which I will link in the description, that fresh and clean water is technically a human right by the United Nations. However, they added this little thing stating countries must only need to do their best to provide water with the available resources. This is basically saying this is a human right, but we won't do anything to provide it in countries that are likely already trying to provide water for their people, but literally cannot because they don't have the money, resources, and infrastructure to do so. The United Nations always stood as a good message to the world, choosing unity and cooperation instead of war and destruction, but sadly the United Nations has continued to prove its uselessness when it comes to big issues such as enforcing human rights. The article also goes over the United States and how nowhere, except for California, water is a human right in any of the constitutions in the federal and state governments. This to me is ridiculous. Water is simply cut and dry a human right, and it should be given to everyone. Even with the recognition of water being a human right by the biggest international organization in the world, 1 billion people still go without water. And I really hope as we progress towards the future, we start working together to ensure everyone has access to water as we do.